if not dollars, have been lost by residents in various communities, right from the Eastern region into the Volta region. And then also properties worth of same also lost. We're told that the president, through an inter-ministerial committee, and then he himself is leading a delegation to many of the communities that have been affected. What really is needed in those communities, and how can we make sure that we bring relief to those individuals as well as brothers and sisters in those communities? Helping us do the discussion rightfully is a regular on the show, and George Ayisi is the Director of Communications for the National Disaster Management Organization. He will be part of that big delegation led by the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to the disaster site. He's right here in the studio. Good morning to you. Yeah, George, clad in a vest or a beep, or how do you call this one?
You've worked with this before.
All right. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. How about you?
Well, it cannot be too good for the communities, right?
Yeah, it's not too good.
And then also we have Eduji Tamaklo. And your first name is Godwin, eh?
That is correct.
Okay. Godwin Eduji Tamaklo. There's Kojo also somewhere there, or Kujo. And he's a legal practitioner, currently director of the legal committee of the NDC. How are you?
Good morning, Roland, and good morning to George. I'm not sure that my people in the lower Volta Basin, this is a good morning for them. We are confident that the intervention of the state will be rapid and ASAP to resolve one of the worst humanitarian crises to have happened in Ghana. Remember that this crisis had never happened in the last 50 years. And that makes it extremely unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
Yes, and we want to believe that state actors who at least have demonstrated a lot of indolence in the past few days would be up to the task going forward. Because the situation is not abating. This morning when I checked the numbers, the water within the reservoir is still going extremely high. The highest is supposed to be 278. This morning, it is 277. What it means is that you need to do a balancing act. The integrity of the dam and the survival of our people.
Of the communities. All right.
Along. Yeah.
We'll come back and talk about some of those important issues. So we'll use that as a preface before we launch into the main issues about how we are here as a country. Now, we also encourage you, make sure you cash out with us. It goes with a short code *439#. And so with *439#, you are, after the draw, able to get accumulated sums of money into your mobile money account. And that's a good thing about it. So at the end of the segment, we're able to give you all that. And then also have some other bonanzas that are available through Dewa 539 Chop Money, because that also goes with a short code *446#. And all you need to do is to make sure that you join Dewa 539 Chop Money every morning at 10 a.m. And then also after that draw at 10 a.m., there's also an evening draw at 7 p.m. You can also play the Sunday special exclusively also on Sundays, and then you get to win big. And that draw will take place at 6 p.m. Again, all you need to do is to make sure you dial *446#, and then you choose the various options that enables you to win big. And option 1, you also get to play the draw as well. Option 2 also enables you. You have to pen the numbers, because the ones available are between the range of 1 to 39, and that becomes big for you, okay? Now, just in case you have some customer complaints, you can touch base with them on their website, www.dewa-nla.com, and get the latest. As you do that, let me just recognize some key individuals on our stream, as we always do. It's been a while. We have to apologize for the stream going off the previous period, but I have a couple of you as well. Akasokri Joseph, Money, many of you joining us, Owusu Eyiram Yao, etc., and then Samuel Inti Ochre. And that's a good thing about it. Now, George, let's touch base quickly with the disaster issues before we come to the finance minister. So how many people have been affected based on the counts that you've estimated as a National Disaster Management Organization, George?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning to Council. Good morning to our viewers and your production crew. We're looking at 9 districts that have been affected.
9 districts.
9 districts. But the Yellow Krobo one is yet to be hit hard. The remaining 8 have been affected. And the Anglo and the Ada East are the hardest hits because they are the estuaries, okay, of the Volta Lake. So, and Bator, that's where the camp is, where Mepe, these communities have also been hit. That's North Tong, Central Tong, and South Tong. These are the other hardest hit areas of the spillage. What we need to put on record is that as before coming on air, Council gave us some data, the maximum level of 278 meters, and we are around 277. It tells you something, Roland. About 100, according to the Deputy CEO of VRA, Mr. Kenzo, about 156 billion cubic meters, or is it metric tons of water is held behind the dam. You get it? And because of the rate at which the water level is rising, if we don't spill, the dam is exposed to danger. You get it? And so this controlled spillage, we started from 15th of September, level 1 or phase 1, they started spilling around 1,000 cubic meters per second, which was gentle. And then when the rate was rising, they needed to increase it to 5,000 cubic meters per second, which was a level 2 or phase 2 spillage. And that means we've heightened the disaster level. That is what it means. And as we speak, it's about 6,700 cubic meters per second that is being spilled. And in all these, we are talking of about 6,000 metric tons of water that is being pushed out, okay, as compared to over 156 billion metric tons of water that is held by the dam. The issue and the danger, this is the lesser evil that we are encountering. And we want viewers to get to know that. This is the lesser evil. What it means is that if we don't, VRA doesn't control this spillage well, and then the dam itself is exposed to danger because of the volumes. What it means, we all pray it doesn't happen, and we are not anticipating that happening. If there's any issue with the dam, this 156 metric tons of water that is held there is going to be pushed out. Then the whole of Shai Osudoku, the whole of the Adan Enclave, Bator, all the way, maybe, you know. And again, this is controlled because the risk, one critical national asset on the way downstream is the Sogakope Bridge. If you watch this thing, the water
was just
level
beneath the bridge,
yes,
which was very unusual.
Yes, yes. And so that's also another danger VRA is looking at, okay? Hence the controlled spillage. And this is what has resulted in the inundation of these communities along the downstream of the Volta Lake. Roland, let's put on record that in May of this year, we did a simulation exercise, okay? By, you know, sensitizing the communities, all the 9 districts.
Did you do that intensely?
Yes, we
intensively.
did. Yes, we did. We did 1 whole week, okay, where we moved from a team in Ada. You're your team, you know, you were there. You know, all the media houses, we sent them there. And some Ada East, we moved to Bator. I was in Bator. I went to Ada as well. Then we went to Akosombo. So those were the things. In fact, in the simulation exercise, we didn't deploy a team in the south Tong area there. Cool. So these are the issues. We sensitized, we got all the district assemblies involved. We worked in partnership with them. And we, you know, told them there's a possibility of these happening. Okay, and so hence the exercises. And when it does happen, happen. These are the things, measures they need to put in place and to move to safer grounds, identify places in when VRA has what we call the inundation map. Okay, so when it happens that way, where do we move to for safety and all that? And so that is an engagement between VRA and the communities over a period. And so NADMO was part, and the other response agencies were involved. And so we did all these things, but we didn't. What is happening as of now, the volumes and co, is something that, you know, is actually hit us. Even though we got the people involved, you see almost whole house and co submerged underwater. It's worrying, and we empathize with the situation. Our team is there, the army is there with us, all other response agencies are there with us, doing all we can to ensure that the people's lives are protected, and some properties that can be salvaged are salvaged. It's not as if we are.
Well, Mr. Isi, so for example, Sigaman on our stream says today it looks like your slang has. He says Mr. Isi's English is now has been washed away by the water. I mean, just making a light-hearted moment of it. But the Bediako Geoffrey seems to be having a nagging question, and he says, "Why is it that government is now visiting the site?"
Well, government
let's say a delegation, maybe led by the vice president, when the president was away, for example.
Yeah.
It now has to take over a week, etc., before we have the president going.
Oh, VRA is a government agency. NADMO is a government agency. The Ghana
is it the same
Forces,
thing?
No. The Ghana Armed Forces, they are all part. And
I understand.
The president
I'm saying, is it the same thing?
It's not the same.
If you have a delegation of VRA, the voter regional minister
has been there. The voter regional minister has been there. You get it. And he's been there all throughout. And other top-ranking people have joined in the thing. So it's good that
Did you inform the president that this was a very disastrous situation, and so he should have delegated the vice president to go instead of ask to wait for him to come from abroad?
Said he truncated his visit in the U.S. and is down here because of this.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I said that he will be visiting. I didn't say he truncated his visit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he truncated his visit.
So that is it. He wasn't in town, and he's come because of this. Okay. So that is it tells you how much importance this is to the president. And it's his people. And so if his people are in this difficult situation, it's good the president set up this interministerial committee, and he himself is leading it to the place. But the chief of staff is the one chairing the committee. I believe we are going to work in partnership to ensure that we bring relief to the people.
As we try to conclude on this subject, Eduji, your own observations. When the former president, John Dramani Mahama, did visit the place, he did observe, and we also picked the information on the ground live. Citizens crying that they hadn't been supplied relief items by Mr. George Isi's organization, the National Disaster Management Organization, to the point that John Dramani Mahama says that it looks like NADMO just don't have the stock of relief items. That should be a concern for anybody who knows all the tributaries and the communities living around the Volta Lake.
I think that we need to put matters in proper perspective. This particular humanitarian crisis that we are seeing, like I pointed earlier, from the 1960s, we've not had any situation close to this.
The point of information, Council, 2010, there was spillage, but it wasn't.
No, I mean, to this
the magnitude.
Level,
I think the last one was 1968.
Yeah. To this level, we have never seen a thing like this.
Yes.
Now, you would notice, and from the observation, there had been a serious question of policy failure and planning. That's what we are seeing.
Sure.
The level that we are seeing today is simply because people went home to sleep.
Sure.
And in those times when they were sleeping, the water level kept rising. Look, and I have read reports that suggest that between the Ghana Meteo and VRA, they are blaming each other. One is saying that we rely on your data, which suggested that this year the drought and rainfall analysis will not result in this. And so they relied on that particular data or information and went to sleep. So by July, things have taken a different turn and the water level started increasing. In fact, if they had started the processes of regulated spillage, even around May, things would have been different.
No.
Because you see, they were relying, according to VRA, the data from the Ghana Meteo, which suggested that the rainfall pattern this year will not be anything extraordinary. But you will notice that the water, the increased volume, is not coming from the rainfall pattern within Ghana, but water from outside the country, Mali, Burkina, and the rest. So they went to sleep. And that is what has caused the problem. If they were a bit proactive, we won't be where we are. And like if you see the video, the pictures, it's horrible. Beyond the health issues, remember that once water, because this is their source of drinking water among many other things. So if they cannot drink this water again and they cannot get relief items being delivered to them ASAP, the danger is they want to take this water and the higher level of contamination. And when there is contamination, the higher level of cholera outbreak, among other things. So we are facing, beyond all other things, serious health challenges. One would say that the decision by government to now move, even though I didn't see a certain level of priority in the beginning, for almost a week, government conduct was almost lackadaisical until the committee was put in place, chaired by the Chief of Staff. The responses have not been the best. VRA has basically demonstrated incompetence. Sure. I agree that the integrity of the dam ought to be protected. But the water just suddenly didn't just swell up.
In a week.
In a week.
It did.
No, I mean, when I say swell up, you can see there's somebody's responsibility to be looking at the process.
Spillage started 15 September.
Hold on, please. Before 15 September, the water level started increasing.
And you are talking also by measuring the,
Yes.
or monitoring the forecast.
Yes. And you knew that the major source of water into the dam is not only Ghana. It's not accumulation of surface water within only Ghana, but outside the country. So what has been the level of intergovernmental collaboration? What has been the nature of information sharing among these countries that enables you to do a proper forecast? And so for me, it's the failure in forecasting that is what has resulted in this. And at this point, I think it's only fair. And I want to believe that an agency or authority like VRA would have the capacity to have even funds dedicated when some of these things happen. So that quickly you can move in terms of compensating the people who have been affected within the community. That is very important to restore normalcy to the lives of the people within the areas affected. And I want to urge all corporate agencies, when COVID struck, the unprecedented nature of COVID-19, private individuals, companies, all came on board to help in the COVID process. This is equally unprecedented. And I'll plead with all the major companies that as part of their corporate social responsibility, starting from TV3, possibly you
Media General.
Yeah, Media General.
You should put together a relief fund.
Beyond that, a short code that allows for mobilization of funds ASAP in order to reach out to the people within the affected area. I mean, this had really created huge humanitarian effort. Now that Mr. President is back from his foreign trip, I think that with him being in charge, the level of mobilization would see a certain level of seriousness going forward. Okay. Yesterday I saw the military. They were there. They had done some area, demarcation, monitoring.
We have set up an EOC, at
What is EOC?
The Emergency Operations Center,
Where?
and is monitoring at Bato.
Okay, let
me supply information.
If you look at a place like Mepe,
yes,
some of the places that the water level had, got into, I'm sure you cannot even anticipate that water would ever get to that place.
Yeah.
But there is water there now. Yeah. And so it puts all the matters into different perspective.
Right.
And my biggest worry now, because this morning when I check the forecast, what it means is that they will be doing more spillage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now look at the Sugakope, the bridge. That's one of my biggest headache now.
Yeah,
because that particular bridge connects Southern Volta to the rest of Ghana. And if that bridge is undermined in any fall, you are basically going to cut off a whole part of this country from the rest of the capital. And I think that all the agencies must put everything, traditional authorities, citizens and everything must cooperate under the circumstance to ensure that valuable state assets are not compromised also. So we need to balance the interest.
That's what VRA has been doing.
That's what they've been doing.
And for the information of the public, VRA immediately is committed about 10 million Ghana cedis.
Only 10 million?
No, less than. Immediately.
Only 10 million?
He's using ASAP. But they are generally looking at about 20 million in the immediate.
20 million cedis?
Yes, to support the process. And government, is also going to go in.
Let me just take
the water issue.
Let me take some and then you can answer this. Accra Commando, who is watching, says this is a disaster of many magnitude. Yeah. And then also Oklu Emmanuel says Mr. AC should be honest to the people that they did not do intensive sensitization program. I also do know that the VRA, I spoke to a high official in the VRA who said they do this annually. It's because the community also seem to think that, well, this will not happen because it hasn't happened largely at the scale. Dennis Hetro says, I agree with Eduji totally. I'm not an engineer, but I know all of this could be calculated to reduce the damage if monitoring is done.
No.
Okay. Collins Coffee Boss says, mortuaries and graves are all flooded, contributing to a health crisis. Yeah. And then also, I have this one from Agbefia from Mefe, says, while Bato is not flooded, it is Mefe, for which I'm a native and also a victim, for which we need a lot of help. Now, the Great Slow says, if this had happened in other jurisdictions, the government of the day would have declared a state of emergency in these flooded communities. But as usual, we're back after a week before a visit by the president. What was the vice president doing all along? And then Evans Blaze says the vice president was all about campaigning while he was waiting for the president. Very interesting comments there. Now,
you see, hold on. This point for me is very critical. The president left the country outside to deliver a speech. Proud to live in. The problem was there. I want to believe that responsibility relative to the vice president taking over as president was key. He was in Northeast and the rest campaigning in the midst of a national crisis, unprecedented. And I consider that to be the height of irresponsibility. If tomorrow, God forbid, something else happened, are you going to have your November 4th primaries? Definitely not. And if you have a national crisis of this proportion, must the vice president wait for Mr. President to return? He had never stepped a foot in all the affected areas from the time this crisis started to today. This is not what we require of the acting president. He swore an oath to be responsible. This is the height of irresponsibility. And I take strong exception to this. I want to believe that if this thing had happened in Northeast, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would have been there. And hold on. And I am very serious about this thing. No. Because you see, he was the acting president for Christ's sake.
I disagree with you.
You said this thing started from where? The 15th of September.
Yes, spillage started.
But last week,
1,000 cubic meters per second.
But last week, you are aware.
As we speak, it's 6,700 cubic meters.
You knew that the places have been inundated by water. What stopped the vice president in prioritizing the needs of the people there? At least go and see what is going on. Is it not of a priority?
The regional minister will not.
Even the regional minister went there 3 days after.
The army, the NADMO, the VRA will not apprise the presidency.
There's a reason why he's the acting president.
Please.
There's a reason why he is.
You don't just move in,
You do what?
You know.
You do what?
Know. National security gives you a briefing.
Oh, so it is not the national
emergency organization will tell you the situation.
Are you telling me?
We'll give you the SITREP. Okay.
No, but are you telling me now that it is not the national security are giving the go ahead?
You know these things.
That's irresponsible. He was campaigning for vote. No, but he was campaigning for vote.
All right.
And then for me, it's irresponsible.
It's unfortunate. You see, he started very well, being very nationalistic and bringing people together.
So we need a level of nationalism. But the call, because you know,
a timely visit by the vice president is nationalistic.
The president is going there.
Okay.
After how many days?
The regional minister has been there. The Army 48, NADMO, VRA.
Was that not the reason why he was the acting?
Emergency Operation Center has been set up. The water issue is true. VRA is deployed tankers, NADMO partnership and co. They are supplying water. As I said, the water has been contaminated because of the flooding. Okay, and so we are getting sachet water. Everything. Safe havens have been established.
Anthony Nikwenu says the disaster in the lower Volta Basin is a matter of understanding the issues and making cogent submission, not a matter of coming to spew English. It's 60 years since the Volta River got to this level. Many inhabitants have encroached the river pathways, and they must take caution going forward. And then he also says that the various tributaries of the Volta River needs to be dredged because the VRA needs to ensure it invests in dredging.
Some of these things have exposed.
Technically, is it true that if dredging was undertaken, it could have reduced?
I don't.
Have you gotten it in your briefing?
No, I have not gotten that yet, and I don't want to. Do you know why? Because of the rate of spillage, and then
you made an
gradual,
George,
increase. Oh, please,
Mr.
Council,
you made an interesting
Council, you've been speaking. So let me. So the gradual, and then the increase from 1,000 to 5,000 to 6,700 as of now. Okay, it's all for the protection and safety of the dam itself. And I told you the consequences. I'm saying this is the lesser of the two evils. Okay, the other one may submerge, a lot of the districts, including Shao, Sudoku, Ada, and then possibly Anglon and Co. So these are worrying things that we need to look at going forward. I agree with my brother, the regional organizer of NDC, Anthony Nukwenu, that, some of these things have exposed certain things. And so going forward, I believe the approach of VRA may change, okay? If there's the need for dredging and all that, it can be factored in. But for now, sensitization, engagement. What is more, this the simulation. The people were there. They saw us, ambulances, everything moving. Then they asked, so this is, why we are doing these exercises. And the chiefs were all roped in. Okay, the district assembly, everybody in all the 9 districts. Okay, so these are things that we had foretold the people that is likely to happen. Okay, and unfortunately it's happened and it's gotten to this level. As for the politics of it, I don't want to dabble in that.
What is politics
today? My brother roping in the vice president and co. There are teams in. People are working. When it gets to a point, okay, then state machinery. As it is, the president has set up interministerial committee because it seems that we've gotten to a very critical level. And he himself is going with the committee to go.
So what time is the president going? Which time?
By 10 o'clock.
All right. So let me.
Just 30 seconds. You see,
so that's the
VRA has a dredging unit. You are aware?
Yes.
Which is supposed to do a lot of the works around Adan.
They spilled Nakosumbo and Pong, both. That's the situation.
So one feeds the other.
Yeah.
So if you spill the other and you don't do, you compromise the other one as well. But the most important thing is that VRA has a dredging unit. What has been the work of that unit? Because you see, the water level at the tail end, the estuary, where it enters into the sea, where that's really where the issue is. Yeah. If the water is able to move into the sea ASAP, there wouldn't be a backlog. Yeah. And so if it doesn't have a lot of openings in order to enter, it will find its way. And if the process is not dredged, it makes it difficult for the exit end. And that is where the problem is. VRA has a dredging unit. What have they been doing over the period? And that's what I'm saying, that this is a problem of forecasting. People got it wrong.
No,
and it's
GMET had forecasted. GMET...
People have the responsibility to do that.
GMET has done all these things.
And what I see is a question of...
VRA was aware, hence the simulation.
It's a question of failure. In proper planning and forecasting.
No, I disagree.
And that is
VRA has emergency preparedness plan, and as part of that, that's why we have a simulation. Okay,
and I'm surprised that my brother today does not see the urgent need.
No, I see.
Hold on.
I see.
The urgent need of the acting president for all these people.
Before the president came in.
Yes, and the man was campaigning.
So why do we have ministers?
Please. Look, Alan Tremantin.
Why do we have
to go to the place? Alan went there.
Yes. And John Mahama also went
there. Yes, on Friday.
Mahama is there.
Later,
so the vice president couldn't have gone there before these people.
But the vice president could have just taken it.
Nobody is saying that. It doesn't mean it takes everything away. No, the politics of it.
All right. Okay, it's okay. Let me just settle on some few messages, and then we'll go to the finance minister, and then the debt accrual.
We don't need the vice president.
Is there.
All right. It's okay. It's okay. Dr. Samuel Bukari Kando says, I really don't understand the black man. Why are we not preventive in nature than being curative? We only wait for the distraction, then we go pretending to commiserate with affected people. I'm so disappointed this morning. Our weather forecaster is not international, and by way of training,
They forecasted.
They forecasted.
And council was right.
They forecasted.
Up there
I have this one from Elliot Wogbe, who said, I would like to ask the NADMO representative, Mr. Isi, why they couldn't at least do the last-minute intensification of engagement before the actual spillage. Listening to him now, and the comment allegedly reported by Wontumi clearly shows the government has deliberately decided to ignore the cry of the people. If they feel they don't get votes from them, so their lives do not matter.
You see, so far, nobody's touched on that. I told you three...
Hamza, Alhaji Hamza says, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was in Kumasi the first day the KG Tier market got bent and assured them of speedy work on the market, which never sees the light of day. I'm so disappointed and sad in the comments that are coming from government officials. Well, the last time I checked, and that's from Sampi Yali, was that there was an inter-ministerial committee. The last time the inter-ministerial committee was put together for Galamsey, the situation got worse.
Oh.
I don't know why. And then Bright Apia of Child Rights International says Child Rights International.
All of us.
He says, Bright Apia of Child Rights International says, Child Rights International has sent key officers monitoring the bad situation of children, many of whom are out of school and also could be facing possible health crisis. Yeah. And this, based on their findings, will be made public soon to ensure that all agencies come on board to look at the vulnerable. I have this one from Eden from Mefe. I work at NADMO in the Volta region. I shouldn't have information about spillage to educate my family and community. Mr. Eyisi knows the truth. Information doesn't come to the various officers in the district.
Wow. You sure?
And Roland,
is you sure?
Maybe you can...
All right.
What is the current state of even NADMO? Is NADMO really disaster prepared?
All right. Okay, so
Do you have your stocks?
Do you have what is the standard operating procedure? And this is the question only to you, not to Edigi. So, what's the standard operating procedure when there is an emergency or a disaster? Do you go in with first line relief before you do the stock taking, or you look at?
Yes, we look at.
Okay.
We look at. We do the
So
assessment.
you look at before you.
Yes, yeah, the first one is to deploy a team to go and rescue people. Their safety is very important. That's the primary responsibility of any emergency response agency. Okay, and so you go there. If people are trapped, people's lives are in danger, and all that. That is a priority. Once you do that and you get them rescued to safety, identified safe havens and co, then you do the assessment. Okay, some will say head count. The young people, Bright just sent something thinking about children. Okay, you know how many children are involved, how many adults, male, female, and that then determines what you need to bring in to support them. Okay, what kind of food support, whether wet food or dry
So what you're
food,
saying is
and
it
all
what
that.
is in the book, or that's what you did?
No, that's what we do.
No,
And
that- is
that's
that-
exactly, yes, that's exactly what we did there. And this one, I told you, I'm surprised one of our staff is saying he's not aware. When a whole 9 districts...
It says
that-
information flow.
They've all been
So
informed. They are
how many
aware.
mattresses and etc. has been distributed so far?
About 4 truckloads of items have been sent there. Okay, and
To how many affected people?
We are looking at the north of 14,000 people. North of 14,000 people affected, okay, directly. And the number is rising by the day. You get it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if by close of day today, we'll be looking at about 20, 25,000 people directly affected, okay? It is a national emergency, I agree. And so I'm happy the president and the interministerial committee are moving in there to assess it. And then that will also maybe heighten the relief support that government is going to deploy to support these people.
All right,
Okay?
Juliana
So
Belinda
leave
Obri
the
says people in
politics
the
of it
affected
and then
communities are
help
also
people
Ghanaians,
save
and they
lives.
need their attention,
Okay,
Mr.
that's
President.
it.
So that's too late in the
3
day.
regions have been
Thankfully-
affected. Greater Accra
thankfully-
in the Ada area, Eastern region,
All right.
Thankfully,
Kosovo
I've
area,
heard
Shai
the
Osudoku,
Ghana-
and then the Volta
the
region.
Ghana
Agbon is
Medical,
hit.
the Ghana
Yes.
Medical
Thank you.
Association,
Yeah,
they
they
are
are all there.
coming.
Yes,
They have
they are all
given a
there.
clear indication
Yes.
of sending medical doctors
Yes, the
to
teams
the
are all there.
affected communities, the police as well. In all of this, one thing that we need to thank God for is that there have not been loss of human lives.
Yes, so far.
At least it's been
Yes.
properties,
Yes.
and there's been
Yes.
a spirited. I want to salute the sacrifices my people from Mafidugame to Mepe to all those areas.
If
They are
there's not been
resilient.
engagement and
Their
sensitization, we'll have
their resilience
this.
in standing up to this natural disaster
That's good.
is commendable.
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Now-
And more people supporting. We appreciate
Now let's
that.
go. Let's
I mean,
talk
we should
about.
not sleep again.
No, nobody
when
slept.
time
Let's talk about our
From
finances
me,
now.
From
Very
me, how will people sleep?
It's okay. Now let's talk about our current debt levels. And now we're getting the news because we have the IMF meetings that took place in Marrakesh, Morocco. The finance minister was there giving assurances that China, etc., are now coming in so that our external debts could be adequately restructured. It means that we're getting some insights. But there's also a bigger conversation about how we're able to accrue $11 billion because we thought that, well, once we have these, $3 billion annually, we'll be fine. As you know, we even have a debt, okay, or those floated Euro bonds that was floated for 40 years. So 40 years. So we have a 40-year bond. We'll be paying my generation and next generation as well. So let's take an insight from the finance minister. Then we'll come to discuss how did we get here, dispassionately.
Of the Central Bank of China, we don't perceive any reluctance on their part to participate in this positively. Actually, within the past month, I think they are close to a resolution in Zambia, in Sri Lanka, and in Suriname. And so, following that trend, we do expect them to cooperate of that, and there was very good assurance from them that they would do that.
And so we're getting the external creditors to have their debt, what we owe them, restructured. Mr. Isi, how is it going so far? What are you getting from the corridors of government?
Yeah, thank you. We've gotten into this level, and we initially, as you're aware of, didn't want to go to the Bretton Woods institutions, but we got to a point that we had no choice. We made that decision to go to the IMF for support, and as part of the arrangements is to have your debt restructured locally and internationally. Fortunately, we've successfully restructured the local debts by going through DDEP and all that, and today minority people are doing Occupy Bank of Ghana and Co. for some other reasons they thought wasn't properly situated. As citizens, they have that right to raise that issue. The other aspect, IMF managing director has been helping Ghana to get the, Asian countries and the European countries to come in to support Ghana's debt restructuring, external debts. As you know, the critical aspect is the capital market one. That one, you cannot touch it. But with China, with Europe and others, it's possible. And so fortunately, there's been progress made, as said by the finance minister. And so once this external debt restructuring is agreed upon, it opens the way, because when they came for the second staff level agreement, they are satisfied and they've given us the clear. But pending the agreement at the international level, and as you rightly said, the Marrakesh engagement is also to deepen this assurance that we're going to have this debt restructuring. Once it is done, then the door is open for the release of the second tranche, which is about $600 million by December, and we are upbeat about that. Yes, I believe we'll be coming into why we got here and all that.
Start it, please.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Oh no, it's as a nation, you have your programs and for the benefit of the people. This government came in with a lot of news. I'm saying new, not news. Okay, news. New thing, for instance, that you're having one district, one factory is a policy at industrializing the nation, vehicle assemblage plants, the social programs, expanding them, and one constituency, 1 million, which brought about the Southern, Middle Belt, and Northern Development Authorities and co. I saw that, look, once you're putting these programs in place, these are investments against the future. In the immediate, some will say, why this? I thought we took on a lot of cost items at the get-go. We wanted to solve a lot of things at the go, and that...
So you agree that you overestimated what the government could do?
Yeah,
based on what money was available in the kitty.
We were ambitious, and we thought we were going to expand the revenue generation frontiers to the point that it can match up and all that. And as we said, if you are taking $3 billion from the capital market per year, definitely any financial expert, economist will tell you, hey, wait a minute, take a second look at that, okay? And so, having done that, the interest you're going to be paying, as you said, between 6% to 8%, definitely cannot be something that you call mincemeat. Okay, and so all these things have aggravated the situation. The debt profile and the debt interest payment you have had to do every year was something that was difficult. And then, of course, unfortunately, 2017, 18, 19, when we're having the positives, 2020, 21, 22 happened to be the biting year, and because of what we all know happened across the globe, and some countries are facing the dangers. Ghana, yes, if people ask me what are some of the things that we as a government must take responsibility for, which has brought us to this point, definitely the cost items that we brought on to help the people. I thought there were too many at a time, Okay, it's part of it. And then definitely we cannot say the borrowing didn't impact. It did. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing restructuring locally and externally. And then the rating agencies also doing their work. It got us to a point at a point in time, junk status. And that wasn't good news for any country. Okay, we admitted it. The finance minister admitted and we've taken.
The finance minister admits that
yes, the government
we overborrowed because we thought that the slates were clean. When did he ever admit that?
No, that we're faced by crunch and difficulties. Okay, and we have no. If you don't admit, what are you going to do at the IMF? The president himself admitted, this government has admitted that we are in a difficult time and we needed the support and the help. Fortunately, the finance minister was in China, was in Paris, was in the United States and to engage these institutions, and their response has been positive. And so at the last mid-year review, the finance minister did say we've turned the corner. Even though we're still having difficulties, we are very optimistic that with the policies and programs that we are putting in place, cutting down on expenditure locally. Roland, you know that in the mid-year budget, the finance minister did tell $1 billion. We had then disagreed. In spite of that, we're still having some projects going on. We've not halted most projects. And so balancing the situation and getting our finances right, we need to go. This government's borrowing is not being a fluke. It's been invested massively in road infrastructure, moving road infrastructure, as we compared. 8 years of the NDC, they have done about 4,800 kilometers per the SONA, the last State of the Nation addressed by the President to Parliament, compared to about 11,934 kilometers in 6 years.
Including feeder roads and all those ones.
Yes, all of them. Okay. It was the same thing. Same comparison for those ones. I have the data. These are this is the document.
I have the document. It's not in real terms
yes.
that it's less than 2,000 kilometers of asphalted roads, and the rest are rehabilitated feeder roads, etc.
Oh no, asphalted.
So when you put all together, you say that says 11,000. Then you make it big. It looks as if that everybody is moving dry.
Did travel across the country. The people in Tamale to Yendi, massive road going on. Okay, there are a lot of places where projects are going. You get it. And then there's school infrastructure. Okay, STEM projects and sports infrastructure.
How many STEM schools have been built?
About 10 of them. 10. About 10 of them. You know, and the TVET sector, the education sector infrastructure. You know. The red and yellow, whatever we are talking about. What's the name of this? The school? Oh, come on.
Gold track.
Yes, and
you mean the tracks?
Yes, there's a term for it, you know.
The double track.
Double track. Yes, it's gradually phasing out. It's gradually phasing out. So it tells you the massive infrastructure that is going in for the comfort of our students. And so these are all part of the debts that we've taken. People may disagree, but I would not sit here and say the debts didn't in fact impact us. It did. But then we're taking steps to ensure that we put things back on track. And the IMF seem to be agreeing with the steps we've taken so far.
But before you come in, while Ghana was said to be a poster boy, it was because, according to what has been reported on Bloomberg, the Financial Times, etc., by key analysts and watchers of emerging markets, Ghana, after the government inherited that IMF, the John Dramani led government, decided to go on activity. And so by 2018, we went for 3 billion. Now, the 3 billion, 2 billion of that was a coupon rate for a period of 10 years. Now, 1 billion was for 30 years. So from 2018, for the next 30 years, you can count. There's going to be that maturation in the next 30 years. By 2019, again, 3 billion. In the years of the coupon rate by way of the maturation, 7 years, 12 years, and another 31 years where we're going to have that maturation. In 2020, the year of the COVID period, where government says that, oh, there was COVID, etc., we went for another 3 billion. And let me tell you this. That 3 billion, we have a maturation period in 3 tranches of what we floated: 6 years, 14 years, and 40 years. So we have a bond of 40 years that's going to mature from 2020. We've already done 3 years of that. 2021, we took another 3 billion. 3 billion. Then the chicken came home to roost in 2022. Couldn't get what we wanted from the market. Now, there's every indication that for the next 10 years, we're supposed to be paying some $7.8 billion to our creditors. The government went on a borrowing spree, didn't it, Edigi?
Well, borrowing prior to this date.
I think that we need to situate the conversation well. We just didn't start with 2018. No.
Thank you.
Immediately, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration took over. They came with a borrowing agenda. So the first year, by April 2017, they had already gotten $2.25 billion from Franklin Templeton. And you remember the issues, the conflict, and all of those matters. 2018, they did $2 billion. 2019, $3 billion. 2020, $3 billion. 2021, $3 billion. So if you put together, in the space of 4 years, they have done $11 billion in Eurobond alone. Now, if you add the Franklin Templeton bonds to rate, that's $13 billion in 5 years. In fact, government decided in 2022 to go back to the Eurobond market, save that we were downgraded immediately after the 2022 budget was read in November 2021. And so thereafter, our access to the bond market became problematic. Now, guess what? Even in 2022, when we didn't get access to the Eurobond market, the Bank of Ghana stepped in for government of Ghana. So remember this. In 2022, we were downgraded. We had become a junk state, the worst we have ever seen in the management of this economy. That year, Bank of Ghana stepped in as investors and gave this government, contrary to the express provision of the Bank of Ghana Act, 43 billion Ghana cedis, almost equivalent to another $3 billion. So consistently, this government had been managing the economy with borrowing. And what they were doing is to create an artificial strength for the city. So each year, if you notice, they were doing 2 billion, averagely 2 billion each year from the very time they came to power. And that is what they have been using to show up the city. So in 2022, when we could not get the so-called Eurobond, immediately it created a distortion in the exchange rate. And that is why you noted that for the first time, the exchange rate went as far as 15 cedis per dollar. Because that particular year, Bank of Ghana was just printing cedis. It was no longer dollars. Because they were giving the cedis. Ordinarily, the dollars come to show up. We're no longer getting the dollars. And that is what created a crisis that we are still in. But you see, something interestingly happened. Roland, what is this? Do you know that in 8 years, Mills Mahama Emisatha, the overall Eurobond borrowed was $3.5 billion in 8 years. we were using for debt servicing became the highest since 1957. In fact, the worst we had come close was Achampon's administration. And that is why we had to effectively do Yentmintua. If you remember, under Achampon, it was Yentua, creating a situation that you may have the money, just that you don't want to pay. This one, it is the case of Yentmintua. We don't have, we are bankrupt, we are broke. And that is what Akufo-Addo and his lousy vice president, who proud to becoming the vice president, created a messianic view about himself that with a magic wand, with the thing that Okonfa-Anokye was holding, that he could conjure the golden stool, he could just change the Ghanaian economy. Today, when was the last time you've heard the vice president speak about the economy?
He's always speaking.
Because he cannot. And that is why he has quickly moved. And he's running under so-called digitalization. Because he has seen that he had become a very bad example of how to manage an economy.
Well, if I hear him very well, he said digitalization is part of the emerging technology breaker to ensure that as a disruptor, we are able to leverage on that to develop.
Leverage on what?
You think it's too much verbose or English?
Hold on. The man in opposition told us, he said, when in doubt, observe the exchange rate.
Yes, he did.
As the chair of the economic mismanagement team, this one is not a management team, it's a mismanagement team. As the chair, he had moved the exchange rate from 3.8.
4.2.
Today, they are doing in excess of 11 Ghana cedis. How is this the mark of competence? And this guy has the temerity to look Ghanaians in the face that give me the leadership of this country. I have never seen that level of insolence.
Wow.
And you see,
is it because he's the head of the economic management?
yes,
So that's what you're talking about?
These are his ideas.
You think formally the responsibility lies with him?
The man, his ideas are what has brought us here.
Are you sure?
Whose idea is it?
The exogenous factors, the
Which
crisis.
exogenous factor? From the
What's
data.
the alternative?
Hold on. From the data, 2017 was there COVID?
No, there was not.
Was there Russia, Ukraine? Meanwhile, you did 2.25 billion. In 2028,
Average growth was
hold
what?
on.
Touch on that.
Was there COVID? You did $2 billion. 2019 was there COVID? You did $2 billion. 2020 COVID year, you did $3 billion because you went for $1 billion special drawing rights, another $1 billion. You did Eurobond, Dachi bond, and the ESLA PLC bonds, among other things.
Were the impact on the economy? Roland, ask him. He was just talking of the loan in abeyance.
What impact?
The economy was expanding. 7% average
Oh,
growth.
hold on, please. Where was the growth coming from? The growth was typically driven by oil. Look at the non-oil growth. That is what shows you the real capacity of your economy. Hold on. In 2022 alone, we got in excess of $1 billion from oil alone. Which other sector of the economy contributed this much? Was it finance? Was it the service sector? Which other sector of the economy?
When you look at what the budget items are, and you even know that we tend to exceed it by way of the deficits that it's created, and then also the line items that are revenue only tend to show up or is able to, if you take a look at what the expenditure is, being wages,
interest payment and amortization,
and then other interest
and
payments
statutory payment. These three things.
So from the last budget, we even exceeded that.
You exceeded
by 106%.
You exceeded
so it means that even the two line items were not able to meet. So as a country, the argument is that, well, we are spending and there are projects, there are other things. So we need to take responsibility for it.
What?
You don't see the project?
What projects?
Wow.
Interchanges, you know.
Please, hold on. You see, do you know how to catch
That's what they say.
Lying government? Each one of these projects has separate loans procured for them. It is not this Eurobond.
Sure.
Each each one of these projects, the Obechebi-Lamte Circle, there's a specific loan for it. The Pokwase Interchange, specific loan for it. The Tema Runabout, 54 million from Japan. Each one of these projects has a different loan agreement.
But they are debt nonetheless.
No, but that's not what they're
But they were contracted before.
We are saying yes, but we are even saying that we are doing 11 billion of euro bond. Which road project is being funded by this euro bond? Tell me, which of these interchanges is being funded by this $11 billion euro bond? None whatsoever. Wow. You have specific loans for specific projects in this country.
So you see, Monica Kwaku said I should tell you, your laughing is an insult to Ghana because we're in a crisis.
Oh, so Roland, that's a different matter. But you see, Roland, if you look at the amount, and I've decided to table it here, if you look at each of the loans that we have acquired, the euro bonds, let government officials tell us. For instance, when John Mahama went for 3 billion of the CDB loan, he used $1 billion for Etuabo. What can Akufo-Addo point, he and the vice, point to us that when we went for 11 billion of euro bond, we used it for A, B, C, D. Do you know what they have been using the money for? Consumption. And you see, the painful part is that you have done in excess of 13 billion in bonds alone. Come to think of it, in 6 years, you have done 300 billion in tax revenue. So while they are borrowing, they are taxing the ordinary Ghanaian more. And so within 6 years, we have done 300 billion Ghana cedis in tax revenue. What do we have to show for it? We are back to the IMF. And what is clear, and I need to make this point clear, do you know that our finance minister, in all of this borrowing, he was benefiting?
Can you imagine this?
In all of this borrowing, his company, of which is the beneficial owner, was benefiting from the borrowing.
The argument that is made is that by the time he entered government, even before government, he had recused himself from the Daily Money.
No. So under the Companies Act, even if you leave, because you are the shareholder, you are the beneficial owner of those shares.
Invariably, you say.
And so when the shareholders take their dividend, it comes directly to you. It comes directly to the finance minister. And so ultimately, his reason for the borrowing was not one to advance a national cause, but his personal benefit. Wow. And what has happened is that the family of Mr. Akufo-Addo, of which Ken Ofori-Atta is a member, are the biggest beneficiary of this borrowing, unbridled. And in fact, the record will show, but for the downgrading, they were going to even borrow more until we're downgraded. How in God's name? If Akufo-Addo for a second had even told Ghanaians in 2016 that this is how I am going to mismanage the economy, this is how I'm going to recklessly borrow, who will give him the money? So the record will show today that this MPP administration that we unfortunately brought into power are the cause of Ghana's woes. And it is going to take a long time. Look, this government had completely wiped out middle-class income through this dubious debt restructuring program because the little savings class men decided to say that in terms of crisis, they can rely on those savings.
Buying those instruments.
Buying those instruments. They are gone. Can you imagine that as we speak? Trade Union Congress and its leadership, and I say this to them, they have agreed with government to even restructure, take a haircut on people's pension. Where have you ever seen this before? Because when we told Ken Ofori-Atta that the restructurable debt that he needed to restructure was 137 billion Ghana cedi, he told us one morning that he had done 80% participation. Do you know what he did? This guy cannot even be honest. he decided to reduce the restructurable debt from 130-something billion to 90 billion and did 80 billion and said he had done this level of participation. And that is why when he went back, the IMF told him that no, come back. So he had to go and meet TUC to restructure our pensions. Today we speak, China, the Paris Club, among other things, have about $10 billion to restructure. And that is why you notice that even the $600 million that we are expecting in November, the IMF is saying that it will be contingent on getting at least MOU from China.
But you saw the press conference.
Fortunately, it's been agreed upon. So.
Okay. What has been agreed upon? Okay. Nothing.
Right.
No, what have you signed with the Chinese or who? And you see, hold on, there's something about the Chinese. The Chinese never believe that a country is broke, technically.
Then what do they believe in?
They believe that, you see, if you have your bauxite, you can't tell me that you are broke. If you have minerals beneath, you can't tell me you are broke. And that is why it has become extremely difficult for us to reach an agreement with the Chinese. And instead of telling Ghanaians the truth, even in crisis, you are lying.
Talking about?
What kind of deceptive government
laid
is this?
everything bare to the Ghanaian people. Yes.
Mr. Isi,
yes, Roland.
the key consideration is that there seemed to be the belief among the, if we have a middle class at all, because I don't think that by way of the dollar to CD threshold, there's a, maybe in Ghana, where we're here local, we're local champions. At the end of the day, there seemed to be the belief among the generality of the Ghanaians. If you look at, as the MPP presidential primary is ongoing, the concerns even from the stronghold, the Ashanti region, that roads are bad. I just had Ralph, who sent me a video of how the community roads also are in terrible state. The rains have indeed exposed many of us. It looks like the government thought that spending on the social side and excessively promising was the way to go. Do you think that the government needs to come and apologize to Ghanaians for overestimating how it would have been able to manage the economy? Forget about Russia and Ukraine.
This government, that's what I told you.
What did you tell me?
In terms of infrastructure, it's phenomenal. It's unmatched.
Where?
This government.
Infrastructure?
Yes.
You mean ongoing or completed?
Yeah, some completed, some ongoing. Even 13 interchanges and 7 completed. It's not infrastructure. Roads, I've given you 11,984
13
kilometers.
interchanges.
Yes.
And then?
7 completed. Okay? And
where are they? Do you some of them?
You know them. Okay.
Do you know some of them?
We've completed Tema, haven't we? OBTB phase 1.
The runabout
went to China, to Japan. The Japanese government gave $54 million. What do you know about that project?
Come on. You came speaking about Eurogen. You said you have done the Eurogen project.
Because we look for the money. $300 million from Barclays.
President Kufuor did it. You came in. You completed. Nobody contested that.
So my question.
It's a government spirit. And they've done these projects, okay? And roads have gone. Yes, social programs and interventions and it's good. As we speak, the energy sector, are we having the doomsday? How much money is being pumped in there?
What money?
As we speak.
Into the energy sector.
When we came, the energy sector debt over $2.4 billion. Over $2.4 billion.
So the energy...
You took a debt from $9.5 billion to $122
and you have taken it from 122
debt to GDP from 33% to 57%. 575.
Okay, so if you look at...
Move it. About 15 percentage points in debt to GDP.
In real terms,
71%.
Listen to me. So in real terms, by 2017, when the government took over, that will be the 7th of January 2017. What was the debt level based on assessment?
122.
Okay. What's the current debt level now?
575.
Okay, and you were a maths teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you do the subtraction...
And I'll do that, no, I don't, you don't do that in abeyance.
What do you do that? So you tell me the real figure, and let's move on to the next question.
I told you 575.
Okay, so if you compare 102 billion or 22 billion...
122.
And then you have almost close to 600 billion.
575.
That's in excess over 450
nominal terms, yes. Nominal terms. But you see, in computation, you look at the rates. That's how you compare.
So you're looking at the percentage
You look at rates of
Because it's
debt
conducive for you.
accumulation. No, that's how it's done. Debt accumulation. Okay, and then relative to GDP. Why do we have debt to GDP?
Why
do we have debt to GDP?
At the time
I'm telling you, debt to GDP
left
from
office,
33% to 57% under
at
debt.
the time
And then
NDC
it
left
moved
office,
official up to 71% as we speak.
You moved this economy
We had that 104
from a debt to GDP ratio of 56%.
Please, when you speak,
No,
allow him to make
remember that he spoke.
No, allow him. Yes. I'll give you 2 minutes remaining.
Yes, you've been doing that from. I give you that respect all the time. I love that counsel. I respect you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's allow the processes to go on. You get it. And there have been a lot of things that this government inherited, and we've been able to put them in shape. The energy sector, the things that were in there, the national health insurance angle, the road sector and all that, okay? This government is put, and then the social programs that the IMF has agreed that we need to pursue the social programs, okay? The number of people, beneficiaries on the LEAP program, the school feeding projects and all that. All these things are there. Allowances that are paid to teachers and nurses and all that. So the government is on course. We were hit by some factors. It didn't distract us. We are still going on with things that we need to do to support the economy and the people of the country. Okay? Would we rather, Council will say, would we rather left the economy to crumble, okay, when we could have come in to support? So that the investments you are talking about, the middle class and co, as we speak, people are still investing in T-bills. People are still investing.
Do you know that for some banks, that individuals have bought government T-bills,
yes,
the maturation period has been moved forward. Do you know they've been doing that?
Yes.
You know that?
Yes. No, the finance minister comes out to tell us those things.
I want us to open the phone lines.
We are paying those things.
The maturity. Let me do my 2 minutes. Then you can You see, the maturity let's when it happens, we pay them. Let the record reflect.
That's true.
That in the year 2020, this government took $200 million from the stabilization fund. That $200 million translated into 1.2 billion Ghana cedis with the exchange rate then. That was the money they used for the 2020 election in the name of COVID reliefs. So if you recall, 54 million was used. But the Auditor General today had come out to say that $500 million of the COVID funds were spent outside the GIFME system. Why do you think that government of Ghana will decide to use government money outside the GIFME system? To avoid detention, to avoid. And so the whole idea of using
enterprises,
$500 million Ghana cedis outside the GIFME system was one to defeat the concept of accountability.
So how did the Auditor General see
And he said that they have used the borrowed money to settle our energy problem. Today, the IPPs have already posted the government of Ghana owes them in excess of $2 billion. Correct. Meanwhile, John Mohammed's vision of establishing ESLA,
do you know the contribution of the excess into that
to pay the legacy debt? When they came, you know what, yes. When they came, you know what they did? They decided to use ESLA as collateral for the ESLA PLC bonds. Today, ESLA had become a fiasco.
You had used road funds and for collateral.
No, but the evidence of them. We did that. Hold on. We lent you 600 million Ghana cedis.
Road fund was mortgaged. All the statutory funds were mortgaged.
No, you came back and saw 600 million in the account. You know that every the IMF program that we entered into in 2015,
like there was no tomorrow.
By the time we left office, out of the $950 million, only 350 came under us. The remaining money came under you. So you have been the most resource and the most useless. How did we get here?
Come on. When we have
please.
For it. And the economy has
for those in the disaster
GDP size
enclave, following that spillage of the Akonsombo Dam. So we have to change, we'll go back to the spillage by way of the super. And I'm giving you 3 minutes. My director says I can have 3 minutes. Please call in. How are you feeling? How do we hope that, or you compel NADMO to make sure you get the relief that you want? As we all wait the delegation led by the President of the Republic, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to ensure that we get the relief. So for disaster relief, please call him. Let's hear from you what your experiences are, the experiences of your relatives, if it's your community, strictly on the Akosombo Dam spillage and its effect on the community. So the phone lines have now been open. Let us see what we can do. What are your own experiences following the spillage? Let us know what you think. We also encourage you, please cash out. It goes with the short code *439#. I already know that for each winner, we're giving 2,000 Ghana cedis each. Please make sure that you join in this bonanza. And just in case. So can I have the number of Saji? Send it to me right now, okay?
Oh.
Saji. We have a first caller. Please, you're speaking strictly on the Akosombo Dam spillage and its effect on the communities. Good morning to you. No. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Mohammed. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Kumasi, please, your comment on the disaster, the flood.
Let's ask the engineers in the Akosombo Dam. Why you know so the water is coming in the dam? It didn't open already. We need all of things go over before we come and open. Who can there go see that existing? Only Ghana. Why? You sack them. You sack all of them in the view around Akosombo Dam. It is bad.
Okay. He says that the VRA should have been more disaster prepared, as well as NADMO as well. Please, the phone lines are open. Let's share experiences, your own concerns about the whole state effort, making sure that we give some relief to the displaced residents of the affected communities following the Akosombo Dam spillage. So what items have been shared so far?
Of course, we've got our usual blankets, mattresses has been sent, life jackets have been sent, of course, food items, rice, oil, all those things.
We have a caller. Good morning to you. What's your name?
Wet food.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Adidome.
Adidome. Okay, so
Adidome.
Okay, has Adidome been affected, and how extreme is it?
My name is Christian Amagulu. Adidome. Okay. Yes.
I've sent you this number.
Well, so please, when you call, reduce the volume of your set or whichever device you're listening to us so that we don't get feedback. Don't try to listen on your TV or your device. Speak to us directly on the phone so that we tend to communicate. So again, let's know where you're calling from. It's a shame that we lost a lot from Adidome because of the poor lines. But again, tell us. Hello?
Yes, Adidome is also having a public issue. So what I want to say is that it's like the effort of NADMO is not so much.
Okay.
So if I can plead with the president, I don't think that kind of delegation they are coming, interministerial delegation, I don't think is anything. They should rather keep that money and come use it to buy items and come and give to the people in this flooding area. Come and say, sorry, all inside the So that money
consensus out there. So that will be for the calls that we have. We have a number of you also sharing.
You know that as we speak, 19 months trainee allowance is still in arrears. You are aware?
For which people?
19 months.
The nurses.
No,
in fact, someone just sent it to me. I didn't even know. 19 months.
Some individuals had problems. Yes, generally,
Please, let's focus on
They were paid
the-
recently.
So-
And you remember
it's not
not
true.
long ago,
It's not true.
one of the respected persons in the
Individuals may
NPP,
have, yes.
Kenneth Japon, made this profound statement about how government funds are being looted like there's no tomorrow. You heard him?
The one he said is being said abroad.
Yes,
He
and
said
they are
he didn't
sending
say
the money
that. He
abroad.
said he
No,
didn't say that. He came back to retract.
And you see, the reason why I'm so
please.
concerned
Yeah.
is that this is a prominent member of the MPP, a man who even wants to lead the MPP. When he comes out to say, members of his party are stealing government funds
Roland,
outside the
Roland,
country
I want-
like there's no
Okay.
I
tomorrow.
want
I
Council
should be
and the
worried.
NDC to be giving me alternatives.
To
In
stop the
2015,
stealing. To stop the
2016,
stealing
we
is
were
an
given
alternative.
alternatives.
The looting.
Good morning.
The point
Okay,
of
okay,
today
okay. Please
is
mute,
like
please
Akufa
mute their
is
mics for
leading
me.
a looting
You are just
consortium.
saying
Prince,
you
we
have
want to cash out,
done
so
this, you've
please,
done
please,
that.
please,
What
please,
do you have
please,
on the
please,
table?
please.
I mean,
Okay,
it's like the
it's okay.
government
Prince,
led by
Prince,
Akufo-Addo is
Prince
leading
Henry
a
from
looting
Kofodia
consortium.
says, Mr. You
looting
see,
consortium.
Mr. You see, Lawyer DJ, please, should admit that NADMO has run out of funds because President Akufo-Addo is using the money on needless projects like the cathedral. And then we also have Koblavi of Pokwase Benghazi. The IMF financial bailout is going to enslave Ghanaians all the more because there's no need for it currently because we don't know what government literally will be using it for. And then I have this one also from Kizito from Tema, who says, President Akufo-Addo and his government, they failed Ghanaians. Just look at the year of roads. The rains in Tema East, where I live, have clearly shown that the roads just didn't materialize. And then we also have this one from DHLTUWA. It says, the president and Baumia, they've created a country that's very difficult for us to live in. And then we have a couple more messages coming to all of you. Let's cash out. Can we cash out now? Let's do the draw. 3, 2, 1. Can we cash out? So the first winner is the number 0240 345 and counting. So you're a beneficiary. You should get 2,000 Ghana cedis by now. We encourage you to keep staking as you dial the short code *439#. Many of you giving us a great insight into many of the things that you're enjoying because of cash out. So as you cash out, you also tend to have a couple more of amount into your Momo, and that speaks volumes. John Bosco Akofia says, where are you reading the messages from? I'm reading from our console as well. And John Bosco, Judy Mensah, can we get a caller on? Okay, he hasn't been able to pick. So Judy Mensah says, Mr. Isi, look at where your alternatives have landed Ghanaians.
Yeah, we have exogenous.
But the government
Crisis.
is leading a looting
Crisis.
consortium
Crisis.
led by
Okay.
Mr. Akufo-Addo.
The whole
himself.
world, UK,
They are looting
Singapore,
public funds like there's no
Australia,
tomorrow.
Australia.
having
They're all having difficulties.
Roland.
All right, we're taking
Roland.
a break.
I think
Edith Tamako, thank you very much.
Please, let me say that we're moving
the looting.
Mr. George, you see,
water is being
please let me end the program politely.
It's about
Please join us again.
Are we ending on the
Facebook,
looting note?
X, Thread, Instagram, YouTube, we're always available. Thank you for joining us. We have more conversation right here today. We will go deep into the communities affected by the Akosombo Dam spillage. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from unique natural herbs to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, German! We all day inside.
Yes, we all day inside. Join and enter the free daily sports quiz and win up to 25,000 Ghana cedis every day. Simply register at pridebet.com.gh now to start playing. PrideBet. Let's go!
Comfort, durability, finishing, quality. Choosing sofas and beds for your home, office or hotel couldn't be easier with an exclusive range of sofas and beds in various designs, colors from Latex Foam. There is so much choice whatever your budget. Latex Foam, your partner for life.
Sister. Wow. We are Juma Raffle Coast.
Raffle Coast.
Wow! But you have man at on time.
I want to encounter.
Madam for the TV. My ya so better, best of better.
Sir, Raffle Coast ya akrade for fra upper a German so. Akrade we pe and I wa kwenya say. Ube win 3 times because I had 3 chances mo. Ya chane maybe to phones, TV, and no na me sure say wadan for.
Really, you know.
We Nanseng Espresso Suzuki brand new shren and also that so near yini pabako. E one more 2 year ni ma near the amano. Ye we are inside. Ye watch it ye chinchirin chipa. A yes 3-bedroom apartment. E wa denta wa ye grand drawing. A ye worth $100,000 US. Dial *365*224#. Now I send it into Raffle Coast dear. Stand a chance to win big.
You'll ever taste.
Hi, baby.
Hi, Mom.
Hope you're having fun at Granny's.
Yeah, but Grandma doesn't have my favorite top chocolate spread. Hi, Mom. Mommy, please, I missed top chocolate spread on bread.
Tasty too, made just for you and me. Top choco, it's chocolate choco, it's chocolate choco, it's chocolate choco. Top choco, it's chocolate.
Surprise children!
Yay! It's chocolate choco.
Taste of chocolate. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey! What do you do with some cool $2,000? Okay. Here to Win game show is exactly what you need. It's the only game show where you are already rich before you begin to play. Every week, 2 lucky people stand the chance of winning money. All you have to do is go through some quizzes and fun games. Somebody from Peru is called Perusian. Whatever you say, you have to be proud because your family people are watching you. Somebody from Madagascar is called Malagasy. Correct!
Okay, let's go.
It's you that will tell me let's go. You are not even winning.
Okay. Hold and stand and jump fasting.
Amazing. 5.
Just go.
Ayikwe Ama. Be proud. Okay. First of all, is Ayikwe supposed to be a man or a woman? Put it on your forehead. Ayikwe. Be a part of this game show right here on TV3 and take home some cash. Come join us on Here to Win game show where you win it all. Hey, yo, mama. Hey, mama. Hey, yo, mama. Hey, mama. Here to Win.
Here to Win shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Get It Insecticide Spray.